I like this thing. This morning we're going to talk about kit laid out specifically for wide area search and land navigation that can cross into survival and your everyday hikes in the woods. And so we're going to go over some of the gear that I carry in a particular chest pack. I'll show you some different options and all the tools that'll go in it, along with a slight touch on what's in my day pack. First item we'll talk about is something that's new to me. I've given it a couple tries so far, and I'm starting to really like it. I carried this or the Hill People Gear SAR large kit bag. This is a phenomenal bag. I've used this for many years, and we're switching over to just try some different options that can hold binoculars at the same time the other gear that we would use for land navigation. This particular Eberl Recon Bino bag is specifically made for holding binoculars. This is the small. There's a small and a large version. This particular small holds the Vortex Fury. These are the rangefinder Furies. Really good, high quality glass. I highly recommend, if in search and rescue, that you have a good pair of binoculars. This particular one has the option of a rangefinder, so you can actually use that as a part of your navigation and targeting specific things that you might be looking to cross a river to find out how far away a particular object is, or your victim patient that you're looking for. So those fit comfortably inside there. If you're not carrying binoculars or have no need for binoculars, these can be removed. They have bungee cords that are attached, quick Fastex buckles. These guys come right off. And this is where our land nav book with all our protractors could go right inside here if there's no need for binoculars. On this Recon pack, I've put on a couple of their pouches. One is the general purpose pouch right here on this side, on my left side. In the general purpose pouch, I'll put my Sunto MC2 compass with some paracord inside the pouch. Fits perfectly inside, and then I'll attach this paracord to one of the zipper pulls in case this gets dislodged and I don't lose my compass. Next item would go in the GP pouch, so it's very accessible, is my headlamp, right? So my choice of headlamps is the Black Diamond Storm 450. Runs off of AAA's. I like the AAA function because I can have rechargeable AAA's, I can have regular AAA's. I go with the lithium ones so they last a little longer, and they're readily available. Whereas a rechargeable model, I believe it's the 500, or any of the rechargeable headlights, you're at the will of having the ability to recharge something in the field. So that goes in there, right up front, where it is readily accessible. Next is the rangefinder pouch. So this is made for a hunting rangefinder. It has a lid with a magnet, but it's a great holster for the Garmin Montana GPS. And that fits perfectly inside there, and it allows it to work as a GPS, but it allows me to have a place for it instantaneously to holster it and make it safe. This particular pouch comes with a lanyard, a bungee cord, so that's great. I attach it to my little fob that I have here. I tied with some paracord so I can pull it in and out of the holster easy. and then reholster it. Other things that I've added to this is their dangler. So this is a particular, it's a hard-backed MOLLE attachment by Velcro. That dangler allows you to mount anything you want that's MOLLE'd. So you have many different types of accessories that are available. I like to have a tourniquet right up front and center pretty much on every kit that I build. So I have a cat tourniquet in here, North American Rescue cat tourniquet. And that right up top, we go up to what I use quite a bit, which is a way to count my pace counts. So this is a small set of Ranger beads, and on the end of it, a distress whistle, a Fox 40. These Fox 40s are probably the loudest whistles that you can find, and I've had this one forever. It's indestructible. So loading into this front little pouch, I load a lighter and some extra AAA batteries up front. Other things, I usually keep a couple sticks of hydration powder. Always great to have. Curbs hunger, as well as helping you out in hydration and keeping your electrolytes balanced, especially on long hikes. These have some elastic pouches on the side, which are really cool because these are perfect places for either pens, markers, or a couple of chem lights. I have my chem lights tied with some paracord so I can do the buzz saw as a distress signal, and I keep one of a red and one as a yellow-green. So with this, let's put these binoculars back inside. Another important part of land navigation for search and rescue would be communications. And communications is a whole nother subject on itself, but just for demonstration purposes, I brought out a Baofeng radio that this can either go into a radio holster on your hip, can go in your backpack, or it can be just clipped on the side of the Recon, and then you can route your speaker mic up to the top of the chest harness so you can hear it and speak without having to take the radio on and off. One other little option, which is really nice, especially if you're trying to be really cognizant of the information that you're getting over the radio, is a small earpiece. So this will go right into the side of the mic. It shuts off the actual microphone, and now all the information is getting relayed right into your head rather than out into the open. As far as you notice there's no antenna on this, it's because in communications, and depending on the frequencies that you're using, how far you want to be able to transmit your messages to your other teammates, you can go with a little stubby, you can go with a whip. I've also have a relocated antenna where it actually will drop down a cable to the back, and then the type of antenna based on the frequencies we're using will select that when the time comes. Going up front, depending on what your mission set is, there's a possibility that you want to be armed and carry a firearm. So I like to carry this Bando bag by Eberlstock. So the Bando bag is a fanny pack. This is the large version because I carry a full-size firearm. It has lots of room in it for other things. So we've got a firearm that can be placed in the inside with a holster. And then coming up front, This pouch here is where I will keep this particular kit inside like so. I'll leave it out for now. And then up front, this smaller pouch can be just odds and ends. So I keep an extra magazine and maybe a snack. Let's go over a few other bits and pieces, because this is a very important part of land navigation. So this is the Right in the Rain field binder with its cover. It's a great little tool because it keeps all the things you need for land navigation in one spot. We've got mechanical pencils, highlighters, Sharpies, map. These are the Binoculars by Stadler, and these are pretty much your standard in map markers. Those get slipped right in there. This are some pre-planned map information, scales, kind of cheat sheets on some things here. Some things really pertain more to the military than they do search and rescue or for the everyday hiker. But for search and rescue, we use 9-line quite a bit, and there's a lot of information on how to actually call a 9-line of all the items that you need to be speaking on the radio when you speak to your CASVAC unit, your unit that's coming in to do the rescue. Also got plenty of notes for your teams and your locations and map grid information and laying out all that. I always carry a bunch of field notepads, so these can go right up front in my pouch, so I can take quick notes, or inside here, my protractors. I've got several different types here, and the question is, why would you have so many different types of protractors? They're confusing enough as it is. It really depends on the types of maps that you're using. So in the search and rescue field, we use US National Grid maps, which is a base map that's pretty much worldwide, right? So as long as you could get the coordinates that are on a US National Grid map, you can find yourself, you can find your victim, and you can go from point A to point B in a very precise manner. These protractors all work on those kinds of maps and regular topographical maps. The reason for having so many different ones are they're not all equal. So this is the Ironheart, and you can see that our scales are cut exactly to the line where you would place your marker. Some of the more inferior, which I don't have any here as an example, have a slight clear gap and not cut to the line. That could be a mile off or 100 meters off when you're trying to navigate. So it's very important when you're picking a protractor is to find one where our lines are actually cut to where we want our pen or pencil mark. The other part of this is that there's a scale to a map. Your scale to a map can be 1 in 10,000, 1 in 24,000, 1 in 25,000, 1 in 50,000. A lot of these have multiple triangular grids for plotting. Some of them have the ones you need and some of them do not. So there's a few different options here. Also the flexibility. These Ironhearts are really nice because they're flexible and they're not rigid where they'll crack. This particular one has a lot of information on it. It's actually like a really good protractor, but it's a little bit brittle. I've had these crack and break. And here's another one by Map Tools. That's a really great source for land navigation gear. You go to maptools.com and you can buy these along with a lot of other land navigation tools and maps that you might need. You'll see that these have a piece of string tied to them. And when we pull out the map later, we'll get over what this is for, but this is how we actually get a azimuth bearing, right? So this will correspond off of our grid and then in a direction of the degrees that we need to actually travel on our compass. Alternate pouch or chest rig, which was and still is one of my favorites. And this is the Hill People Gear SAR Kit Large. This particular large is just like their other kit bags, but it has some MOLLE sewn on the front so you can attach a MOLLE type radio pouch. And at that point you could just reroute your cable and your antenna out, right? This has has a front pouch for plenty of kit. Great tie-off points for things like compasses, so you don't lose your compass. Has a main pouch that drops down with some Velcro, soft side Velcro MOLLE, laser cut MOLLE, and a few extra pouches here for more gear, and again, more tie-off points so you don't lose your gear. You'll notice that there are a few things that I do to the ends of these. They normally come with these particular type of zipper pulls. I use some paracord, I cut those off and use some paracord, some shrink wrapped wire covering, and a bead, which makes it a little bit easier for gloves. The one particular in the back is the one that's always on, I center it on my left side, is the zipper pull for a firearm. It has some glow tape on it, and then I cover that in shoe glue to keep the glow tape from ever pulling off. And that allows my one direction of pull for a firearm. And that's where the firearm would be stored, and only that. Highly suggested on this particular chest rig is this optional bungee cord. This bungee cord keeps the chest rig from flopping up and down if you're moving at a good pace, especially if you're rucking or running. You'll need this. So go for the extra option on the Hill People for that bungee. Next is a good map case. So depending on what kind of map you're going to use, you're still going to need a good map case. So this is a Hydrolock, and this Hydrolock map case I attach with a carabiner and some paracord cord on it. So once I get moving, I'll tie this off to my pack, because the last thing you want to do is lose your map. So always have it attached to your pack or your chest rig or something so you don't lose it. This is the NRS Hydrolock. It is completely waterproof, and we can put our topos in there, fold them out to the grid that we're actually working in, and seal it up tight. And store it in the back of our pack. One good thing to know about using these types of map cases is, if at all possible, load them where you're in a dry area. When moisture gets inside of these map cases, they'll stay inside these map cases. And you'll notice that in a year or so, if there's moisture in it, when you go with there's no map in it, you'll see some of the ink from these maps rub off on the clear front, which then will make it very difficult for you to discern your marks when you're plotting your courses and trying to go from point A to point B. So the functionality of these chest rigs are great because it keeps all the gear that you need working gear out front and readily available. But you can't put everything inside of a chest rig. So you're going to need some sort of a backpack to go along with that. Now, depending on what your day looks like, whether you're setting out for a day hike or a particular set of coordinates where you're going out and searching them and then getting back in your vehicle, you'll still need some sort of a backpack. Those vary from small little day bags to something larger that can sustain 24 hours to up to 72 hours. And it's really going to depend on what you are ultimately ending up doing. Good frame of mind is always be over-prepared and have a little more kit than you think you'll need, because you never know if you're going to need to spend another night out in the woods. This particular bag is an older Camelback. I've had this forever. It allows me to have either a Camelback in here. It has some spaces where I can put a solar panel. I have in here the basic kit. We won't go over everything that's going to go in a backpack, because that's really mission set. Depends on your mission set and what you're doing, but always the same principles of I'm going to have fire, I'm going to have shelter, and a way to filtrate water. I'm going to have a little snack, and then some items that pertain to my search. Here I usually tie on this trail marking tape. This is blaze orange trail marking tape that I can actually tie to some trees and leave a little breadcrumb trail of where I've been in case I need to figure my way out. Another option would be trail marking tacks, and these are really great. These are, I put them in a little tin, and they're nothing more than highly reflective glow-in-the-dark trail marking tacks that can go inside of trees. Again, breadcrumb trailing my way back or to a location that I've found, so maybe my SAR guys that are coming out to do my patient evacuation can follow the trail right in while I continue and search for other people. In the pack itself, like I said, fire, water, shelter, some sort of a canteen or filtration. My parts and pieces get interchanged from kit. This is my larger bag. This is the Mystery Ranch Scree 32. You've probably seen this on every video we have. It is definitely one of the most favorite backpacks that I have. It carries about 18 to 20 pounds worth of kit. Again, fire, water, shelter, sustainment, and lots of possibilities. So this is built out for something that I would go out for maybe multiple days and be able to live off the land successfully. All right, so I've got all this gear on, and I just wanted to show you how quickly accessible. This is basically your search and rescue, your wide area search desktop, right? So this is how you'd want to lay out your desk at home to do some work. This is my desktop. So map readily accessible, pace speeds ready accessible, my light, compass is in this pouch. It's attached via paracord so I don't lose it. Binoculars, accessible. Couple of hydration sticks if I need them, and other items, general purpose items. Come over to here, we've got my glow sticks, GPS, readily available and can be reholstered. And then my radio is within reach, so I can change my channels, turn it on or off, or bring up my volume. Got my backpack on. This is my day pack, so it is just short and sweet mission sets that I can take on and off if I need any further gear, and then redeploy it as I need it.